Sometimes I'm hesitant to make these kinds of videos because I think my subconscious compares the many things that I want to knit to the few things that I've actually completed. And I think I start to feel a little bit of shame or kind of embarrassment that I haven't made that many things. Maybe sometimes even I feel like a little bit of pressure to pick up the pace or to knit more. For me, a lot of the joy in knitting comes from being able to find inspiration in unconventional sources. So when I make lists of things that I want to knit, not that they're hypothetical because a lot of the things on the list I will eventually knit, but they're more aspirational. I'm not going to be able to knit everything obviously in this year. This year I want to be more intentional with the things that I knit. I feel like when I was first starting off, I wanted to just make everything, which was cool. I learned most of my skills that way, and that helped me, I think, progress as quickly as I did. But now that I'm getting more settled into my art, I want to start making things that I'm going to wear. I want to be more intentional with the yarn that I choose in terms of quality, in terms of color. I want every aspect of my knit to be a reflection of me in some way. I feel like that will be the only way that I wear my knits. I feel like if I'm choosing knits that I'm very excited to finish and equally as excited to wear, I'll feel more accomplished at the end of the year. I want to get to the point where my knits are just effortlessly incorporated into my everyday. Being somebody who makes content about knitting, I want to make sure that I don't put all of my time and energy into making my videos and my content and then I never actually do the knitting. And so kind of just find the balance. I do think intention is the one word I can just use to sum up all of my goals for knitting this year. We have to start by saying this is a safe space for tabby. Tabby slanders will not be tolerated over here. Now that we've got that out the way, I love tabbies. I really don't even know what it is. The shape is so strange. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is there not like a historical or like a medical reason? There's like a specific reason I think split toe shoes existed, but the shape on the tabby is so strange, and for some reason I just cannot get enough. I think a pair in a neutral color would be really cute. I don't know, this is one of the fashion girl trends I'm really happy made its way to the knitwear space. Tabby knit slippers would be fun too. I think maybe just wearing them as house shoes would be cute. I have the pattern for the tabby slippers, so I do want to make those eventually one day. The only thing I think that really makes me hesitant about making like tabbies or even like hand mittens is that most of the patterns you have to use double pointed needles, and I know you can use the magic loop method, but I think double pointed needles are a little bit easier. But I don't want to knit with double pointed needles, or at least I haven't been in the mood. Maybe one day I'll work up the courage, but I absolutely love tabbies. This pattern I found for the tabby slippers, this is probably the one that everybody's familiar with. I think this is one of the most popular ones. I do have this pattern. It's sitting in my queue to be made one day eventually. A lot of times also I don't start my knits because I don't know what color to use. Like if I'm unsure about like the color of yarn, I won't start the project at all. It will just like, I'll just buy the pattern and it will sit in the queue forever. I think I do want to tackle this maybe after my cardigan. Much love for the tabbies over here. I love the idea of a hand knit bridal collection. For somebody who plans to never be married, I have like a really weird obsession with weddings. I think what I love so much about wedding fashion, about bridal fashion, is how the designers are able to take very simple silhouettes and turn them into something very extravagant. I think a knit wedding dress in a very traditional silhouette would be really beautiful. I think also something unconventional, like maybe a short dress or shorts, would be a really interesting element to a knitwear bridal collection. This is something that I want to knit one day. I don't know if I'd make like an entire collection. I wanted to knit a bridal veil, didn't really have a reason to, I just wanted to knit one. That's how I kind of started to think, like, imagine a hand knit wedding collection. I think that'd be so beautiful. We all know the best part about a wedding is the reception, so of course if I make a wedding collection, we'd have to have an outfit for the reception. When I think of more of a like a traditional wedding, I think not necessarily that you're limited. I wanted to stick to like a traditional wedding collection. There's only so many styles I think that would convey that traditionalness. In reception wear, I think that's really where you could have so much fun. Is it boring if I'd still make my reception collection in white? When I think of knitting reception wear, the main thing that comes to mind is like matching sets. I think a top with like matching arm warmers would be really cute, or even a dress, like the mini dress with a headpiece or some type of gloves. I mentioned shorts for a more alternative like wedding look, but I think even shorts for a reception look, a wedding look that transforms from the main event to the reception. But when I think of reception wear, I think of really fun, short, unconventional silhouettes, and I think just putting it in white already gives it like a wedding vibe. An outfit that you wouldn't normally associate with a wedding, made in white for a reception. That's kind of like the idea that I'm going for. I've had the idea to knit a varsity style garment for a really long time. I haven't been able to find the pattern, but it really just looks like a simple raglan construction. I think it's the color placement that really gives it the varsity look. I also think with like a varsity cardigan, there's so many ways that you could customize it. Maybe on mine, I'd put my initial on the front. You can also put something on the back. If I were to make a varsity cardigan though, I don't know what color I'd make it. That's the only thing I've been thinking. I really do love the red and white in the example. I don't wear red. I was thinking maybe I'd incorporate yellow in some type of way, or maybe like a taupe and a chocolate brown. That's kind of where my mind was going. But I love the varsity style. Out of all of the ideas I have on the list, this is definitely one of my favorite ones. Clown core is taking over the fashion world. Clown core this, clown core that. When I first heard clown core, I was like, huh? But honestly, the clownification of fashion is something that I am so here for, and I'm happy that this trend has made its way to the knitwear space. Basically, clowncore takes traditional colors and silhouettes that we associate with clowns or the circus, like ruffles and polka dots and stripes, and taking those elements and then putting them into our fashion. So a clowncore knit would be like this cardigan I found with the ruffle collar. I don't know what it is about this trend, but I really just love it. I found this cardigan style. It's like a traditional button-up cardigan, but the collar has ruffles and kind of like a little tie in the front. I think it's a more sophisticated, more like grown-up version of the clown trend. I feel like when a cardigan like that has such an interesting shape, you can get away with making it in a neutral color and it won't feel boring. I want to make something like this in like a cobalt blue, a bright blue. I think even beige or like low contrasting stripes would be a really nice element. A lot of the eclecticness comes from the silhouette and the shape of the garment, and so I think you can really knit it in almost any color and you'd still get that effect. Even just hand knitting the collar by itself would be really cool, and then you'd save time. You wouldn't have to knit the entire garment. One of my fondest memories growing up really is on Sunday mornings, my sister and I, we'd watch Angelina Ballerina on TV. Who else remembers that? Maybe that's where my love for ballet aesthetics started, but I love ballet core, I guess. In 2026 literally everything is core, but I really love ballet fashion and ballet aesthetics and the traditional colors associated with ballet. Knitting a pair of ballet slippers has been a dream of mine forever. I think it'd be really cute to make these in different colors as well. Maybe a blue, maybe a purple. I was thinking even cherry red would be really beautiful. I think out of everything on the list this year, this is one of the things that I'm definitely going to make, just because I've wanted to make it for so long. This is one of the projects that encouraged me to actually learn how to knit. Similar to the tabbies, I was hesitant because the double pointed needle thing was kind of freaking me out, but friend, I'm just gonna have to get over it. A pair of ballet knit slippers I think would be so beautiful. I've seen some people on the internet make houses and cafes and flower shops, entire elaborate cardboard homes and structures for their pets. My idea is this crazy? Wait, I haven't said this out loud. My idea was like a concept similar, but a bakery for my knits. I would knit bakery and cafe items, and then I'd have like a little structure to house them, almost like the adult art version of a play kitchen. I love knitting like novelty items, non-garment items, and one thing that I've come across that I think would be really cool is like pastries, and I've seen a teacup pattern, different bakery or cafe items. I think it'd be really fun to have a collection of them and then kind of just like have like a home bakery or home cafe. I found this pattern for the banana split. I think this is one of my favorite patterns I've ever come across ever. Also, what I really like about novelty items is a lot of times they're significantly smaller than a garment, and so you're able to learn, you know, like a variety of skills and complete a knit in a shorter amount of time. A hand knit bakery, I'm on to something. Okay, I did have some ideas that I had no idea how to categorize them, so I kind of just lumped them all together. We're gonna call them miscellaneous. Still on the topic of a novelty knit, I am dying to knit a chest set. Found a pattern for these chest pieces. They do use double pointed needles, and the double pointed needles are like uber mini, which is why I haven't even attempted the pattern. But I have been wanting to make a chest set or like a checkerboard set for a really long time. I think that might be cool too, to maybe incorporate some type of travel element, or make it like make it some type of bag where the board scrunches up into the bag and then I could put the pieces inside, something like that. Overall though, I really want to make a chest set. It would be so cool, I think, to have on display, and if I could figure out a way, you know, to get the pieces stand up, that way I could actually play with the board, I think a knit chest set would be really cool. We got any Nana fans in the house or what? Shin's Vivienne Westwood beanie has been on my knit make list for literally ever. I love the style of the Vivienne Westwood beanie IRL. I think it's really cool to take one, you know, medium of art and then translate it to another medium of art. Even though it's based on an actual knit hat, I think hand knitting something from an animation would be really cool. Shin's Vivienne Westwood beanie has been on my mind since the first time I saw the show. And now that I'm rewatching it, I'm reminded of how much I love the beanie. I know in the original beanie, in the references, it's like black and white, like neutrals, black and white and gray. I was thinking of maybe like incorporating red in some type of way, like maybe even red and gray or like red and beige. But I just love the style of the beanie, like the flapper hat, the Vivienne Westwood symbol on the side, and then just the idea of hand knitting something that's inspired by a different medium of art, I think is really cool. This year, I want to tackle more color work projects. In a perfect world, I'd have some type of cardigan with a lot of color work, but my thing is, as I get into color work, I guess with really any new skill, I don't want to overwhelm myself. I think if I start off with a really huge intarsia project, I won't be able to finish it. I won't want to finish it. And so I want to find smaller projects to really kind of introduce me into the world of color work. This Peter Rabbit cardigan, I think we've all seen it all over Pinterest. I would love to hand knit something like this, you know, using motifs that I find inspiring, but I'm not very familiar with color work right now, and so I want to start off and do some small things. I think to practice, of course, I'll use some charts that already exist, but the more that I get into intarsia and I get into color work, eventually I do want to use charts that I make. I think my biggest thing with intarsia and color work is I don't really know where to start. I recently made those dice, which were really cool. I made the charts myself, so that was like a nice little color work practice. I think a lot of the color work that I see and that I enjoy are really big, elaborate pieces from artists who have been doing color work for a long time, and so as a beginner, I don't want to overwhelm myself. I think starting off originally, just because knitting is already a patience game, and I feel like when you add color work on top of it, I don't want to bite off more than I can chew. I feel like sometimes I get a little too ambitious, and that's how I end up not finishing my knits. And so I want to find a way to really get into color work that is sustainable for me. I wanted to start practicing and building up the skill a little bit, but I definitely want to get a little bit more into color work and designing charts this year. It's like 1:30 in the morning. I know my neighbors are sick of hearing me yap about everything I plan on knitting in 2026. Friend, what do you plan on knitting this year? Share something that's on your list. I'm very, very nosy, and I love to hear other people's knitting plans. More than anything, I love making lists like this, kind of just to get my creativity flowing. And I think just having a list of stuff that I want to make eventually helps me stay out of a rut. In a perfect world, I'd be able to knit every single one of these items this year. Friend, let me know what you think. Maybe something on my list will inspire you. Let's go to sleep before they file a noise complaint on me. Anyways, anywho, that is all we have for today. Friend, I will see you next Sunday. Bye.